Welcome back to Two Wheel Talk. I'm LA Deluxe. Today I'm going to be showing you my bike. This is a 1996 Yamaha XV535, also known as the Virago. So let's take a look at some of the things that I've done to it, and I'll tell you about some of the work I had to do on it as well, because it didn't come in perfect condition. So as you can see, it's very far from the stock standard. One of the first things that I'd done was change these handlebars, because the 535 has really high kind of chopper style handlebars. So I swapped them out for some Renthal. They're not quite flat bars, they've got a slight angle to them, which makes the riding position a little easier on the wrist. I got these wraps from a company called Trip Machine. They were a brighter, deeper leather before, but obviously through riding and twisting the throttle they've worn away a bit, but they're still very good. I matte blacked all my hand controls, including my master cylinder and my clock as well. All of this stuff was all chrome before, chrome like this. These head indicators I haven't changed yet. I've ordered some LED indicators, but they haven't arrived yet. I'm going to keep the original light. It's not LED, but it is halogen, so it is bright, and it looks really new actually, so I'm not going to bother changing that. I added, I took off the wing mirrors here, and obviously sprayed those black as well, because the wing mirrors were quite big and they weren't very effective even though they were huge. So I swapped them out for one of these handlebar mirrors, bar end mirrors, and it's really effective and it folds in nicely, and you can adjust the angle and stuff like that really easily. I completely resprayed the tank, completely took it off the bike, sanded it, primed it and sprayed it matte black, and then on this part, the white parts, I used a gloss paint. I designed this Yamaha text by hand. This is all hand drawn and hand cut, but I used masking tape to mask out the letters when I was spraying it, and it kind of let some leakage through, and there's like a little brighter part where I had some tape and stuff. So it's not perfect, but I'm really happy with it. It's my first tank ever sprayed, and I think I've done quite a good job. My engine, I sprayed black with heat paint to kind of make things blend a bit more, because it was a kind of ugly steel colour that was, I don't know, it just didn't look good. It didn't shine when polished, and it wasn't dark enough to be anything nice looking. It was just terrible. Not terrible, but just didn't look great. I sprayed all my pegs, my foot pegs and my stand, and here as well, matte black, and I used heat paint on the drive shaft as well, but I left this rear end of the final drive chrome, as well as my shocks and this cover, but I done the little bolts black just so I could have some contrast in there, so that everything wasn't all black. Some nice chrome accent to things. This I matte blacked as well. Originally I thought about making it into a bobber, taking away the back seat, but I thought, well, if I ever want to take anyone on the back, I can't if I've got a bobber. And also I was quite inspired by the Japanese Brat scene and the Brat style bikes, so I thought I'd keep it in line with that, especially as it's a Yamaha Japanese bike as well, although it is imitating a Harley. Not the next thing I done, but one of the most important things I think I done was carve out the original mudguard, because the mudguard originally is a big old thing that comes out to like here, and it's got a big light on the back, and it comes down here as well, and it's just really ugly. So I just cut and carved this by hand with a jigsaw and some hand files and sandpaper, and then matte blacked it, some watermarks under there. At the moment you can just see it on this side. It just makes the profile of the bike so much more slick everything seems more uniform. One of the other things I've done as well was change this light bracket and number plate. Obviously there's my number plate there, but this light bracket has a LED incorporated, so I matte blacked part of it and left the actual light chrome just to give it that contrast again. And then this I actually made from 2 shelf brackets from the woodwork department at the place where I work. I actually done that on my lunch break. I've got these LED integrated lights. Now normally you would put these on like a stalk or a bracket or something, but I didn't want loads of brackets and stalks and stuff, so I integrated them into the seat just so it looks more seamless and just flows nicely. Let me turn them on for you. I love that the key is down here. It's one of the small details that I love about this bike. So let's turn the indicator on, and it's like this flowing type indicator that flows from one side to the other. Show the other side. I like that, it's a nice little touch. And then for the exhaust, I wrapped it with this exhaust wrap and then left kind of the end, the tips there, just to bring that contrast again. Didn't want to wrap the whole tip. But one thing I would say about this exhaust wrap is that it's not great. It's okay, but as you can see, it's starting to like go very thin or completely come away in sections, and it turns a white color, like it's a bit torn down here, so I've got to replace it and take it off. So I half recommend it. I got it from Amazon. I'll put a link up there if you want. It's lasted about 3 months maybe, but 4 months, 5 months at most. Just adding months on, 5 months at most. But I don't think it's great, but I don't know if any other wraps will be any better, to be honest. So that's something I'm still investigating. So that is my bike, 1996 Yamaha XV535 Virago. Hope you like it. It's quite different to my last bikes, which have all been sports bikes or sports tourers, but it's probably my favourite bike so far. Problems I had was to do with this mudguard. Underneath here, the original wiring for the indicators runs, so it comes out from under the seat down into the mudguard and then across here and runs across. There's a wire running across, and then you've got the big indicator here. You've got the indicators here and here kind of sticking out on stalks. If you look at some pictures of an original 535, they stick out like here, but the cable runs underneath, or at least on mine it was running underneath. And I guess from where the suspension was bouncing, the tire had worn away the cable, obviously unbeknown to me, and it was all frayed and whatnot. So what would happen is when the bike would get wet in the rain, it would short out all the electrics and the fuses would blow, and I'd have no brake lights, no indicators. Well, no brake lights and no indicators, which is no good at all. So I would have to stop, put a fuse in, and then quickly go back to wherever I was, because I didn't really want to get stopped or have an accident. So that was quite a big problem. Obviously doing some fault finding. Yeah, also it affected the acceleration of the bike as well. When I would twist the throttle, the bike would kind of lag and be kind of like chugging and all sorts of stuff. So putting on these new indicators and fixing that wire obviously alleviated that. All my wiring is now neatly underneath the seat. The next big problem that I had was with the exhaust. If you look in here, you can see this screw here. Sorry if it's not focusing very well, but this screw here, this is bolted to the manifold, the exhaust manifold behind here. Now when I got the bike, this exhaust was wobbly, but not mad wobbly. I just thought that's how it was, because it's only really held on there, and that's held to the other pipe. It's not, you know, held to the swing arm or anything. So I just thought that's how it was, until I was spraying the engine and I realized that the pipe was hanging off at a funny angle, and all obviously the gases and that were escaping from below here. So I had a lack of back pressure, which I just thought that's how the bike was, because I never had one of these before. So I had to take this off, and then what I discovered was in here, one of the bolts for the exhaust manifold was rusted and snapped off in the manifold and obviously stuck. So I had to drill and tap that and create a new thread in the manifold, and then put a new bolt in and fix that back on. But that's obviously being done now, that's all good. And I think in terms of mechanical stuff, that's everything that was kind of majorly an issue. I think that's it for this bike for now. Just giving you a quick tour and what I've had to do and how I got it to where it is. If you've got any questions about how I made some of the modifications, where I got some of the items from, I got a lot of stuff from like eBay and Amazon. I'll put links in the description if I can find them still. But if you've got any questions or how to do something or whatever, just drop me a message in the comments below, and yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.